Good morning, Mission Control. This is the Real Martian. It is Saturday, May 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you and your families are doing great. I already see we got some folks online. Hello to Rob and hello to Mom and Ron. Glad to see you guys online. It is a beautiful day. It has been raining here in the Pacific Northwest for the last week, which actually a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, gee whiz. And we have absolutely needed it. It is a total blessing to have it raining down, if as you will, and it's really been helping out with the gardens, both here at our house as well as over at the neighbor's place. And we actually have potatoes and stuff starting to sprout over in the neighbor's garden, so our potatoes should not be far behind. You're going to be seeing these coming up in videos in the next week. I think actually you'll see those coming up maybe the week after next. But very exciting things to report. We got 6 people online, so just as we start going here, remember we got super chats turned on. We always appreciate that. And then we've make sure you say where you're from. Like I always like to know, hey, type in your comment. Where are you from? Where are you calling in from? So we can all share in community. I really have come to appreciate these Saturday calls, Saturday live streams because it's a nice way to engage each other and create community. As you know, we've been spending some time on Patreon trying to create community there. I think ever since I did the whole rings thing, I've really had uh, an eye opening of the importance of community and everything that goes on with that. So, if you don't remember here, let me do the rings here. Get this up so you can see it. Remember when we did these rings? We still don't know what to call them. The Rings of Hope, Raymond's Rings, the Lord of the Rings, Rings of the Lord. I don't know. I think Rings of Hope seems to be starting to stick. But ever since we did this, I've really come to appreciate the importance of really each one of these rings that go into where your hope comes from, your life, and how you guide your decision making. And I really, really am coming to appreciate the community tab here uh, as you look at it and you're like, man, you start taking care of these things for yourself. It is important to start moving out into your community. And one way that we work community here, one of the ways that Mr. and Mrs. Martian are doing community, if you will, is through you guys. If you haven't detected yet, it's really well, maybe not detected. If you haven't noticed in the comments section, people are really starting to add some good juicy comments to the videos. So we do work. People are adding their comments and their ideas to what it is that we're doing. And people then come watch these videos. They read the comments, and the likes are off the chart. 98% of everyone who watches the video is giving it a positive update. And what that means is that people like yourself are helping other people. So this channel, I really think, I really want to build it up to be a community that really is helping people, even if it is my failing that people are commenting on, other people will still learn. And I'll learn as well, and then we'll get smarter, and everybody gets better. And maybe I'm doing stuff that somebody else wouldn't have thought of. You see that on the greenhouse converted to Eden videos. People are like, I never thought to do this inside of a greenhouse. So that's kind of unique content where we're helping people out. So I'm excited about building the community here. I'm excited to be sharing stuff with you guys. I hope you're having a great Saturday morning. I'm just looking at the comments here real quick. Remember, I got 3 monitors, so I can't look at you all the time. I see we got Calgary, we got the UK. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Shop, for coming online. And I know I got Arizona there as well. So let's jump in today's topics. I did prepare some, kind of the live stream update, but feel free to add comments. This is all about you guys being able to communicate with each other, communicate with me. So I just create these slides so that, kind of have a at least somewhat guided conversation here as we go forward, but we can go in any direction. So feel free to start dropping on some comments there. Let's jump in. So in general, doing really well as far as the channel. Always wanted to be doing better, of course, to meet the metrics and goals that we've set as a team here. But we got 38 more thumbnails out of the 420, I think now, videos that are posted to update. so that they are all updated. If you don't know, thumbnails are like one of the most important things on YouTube. I'm learning so much as I work with Cody, our next door neighbor, Wrangler Star. He's really been great at helping me out here, giving me some good mentorship, and we're spending a lot of time on these thumbnails because the algorithm of YouTube really looks at those thumbnails. So that's why we're going back through and investing so much time updating the thumbnails. If you don't, well, you guys don't know, but I'll tell you a little insight into my daily schedule. Every day, Monday through Saturday, I'm up around 7 o'clock, and then I'm in here in the office working till right around 11 o'clock noon most days on just YouTube, nothing but YouTube. That is a significant time investment looking at thumbnails, titles, descriptions, everything like that, trying to make sure that we have the best chance of being successful and that we have good content. People like our content. We do have good content. We continue to improve our audio quality, our editing skills. People really like it, but if you don't get picked up by the algorithm, it doesn't really matter how good you are, which is the challenge for every YouTuber. I am extremely happy to see that we are, in fact, helping people. We're having great comments. People are like, hey, wow, this is great. You're helping me out. I'm following along so I can see what you're doing so I can do it with us. People are starting to grow food and they're following our channel as we uh, give them our experience. I would not say our expertise, but our experience as we go through and are setting up our farm, setting up our ranch, working at the neighbor's house, doing all those things. It's really positive to see that you're helping folks, especially during these times. And I really want the Real Martian channel and our Patreon community to be a place that people can turn to for help. Uh, the only bad news on the channel is, we were promoted by YouTube, and man, everything was just skyrocketing. The channel was doing great, and that promotion period is over. It comes around in cycles, and ever since that promotion is over, our impressions are when you go on. If you went on to Google and you typed in the Real Martian, as soon as you saw something that said, like one of our videos pops up, that's an impression. You haven't done anything with it. You haven't clicked on it. You haven't even scrolled over it. It just was presented. That's called an impression. And once people see an impression and they click on it, that's called a click-through rate metric. And we can track all those. And our click-through rate is industry standard. We're right about 3%, 4%. So what that means, out of every 100 impressions, 3 to 4 of them are being clicked on, which is industry standard. We like it to be higher, but that's all about thumbnails and titles, so that's why I'm updating those. But if we can get more impressions, then the channel will continue to grow. Every time we get promoted, we get hundreds of new subscribers, so we just need to get impressions. So if anyone knows how to work on that, anyone wants to work on that, all you got to do is tell everybody about the channel and get it all out there. But we really need to get those impressions up. Okay, just looking at the comment. Ace, hey, really appreciate you telling me about the content as being awesome and the hard work. Yeah, lots of hard work here. That's certainly something that runs in my family. And Flanders, Belgium. Hello, Sven. Thanks for joining us. Man, we're getting people from all over the world today, so thanks for joining in. Let's see here. Okay. Again, you guys feel free to drop in any comments, any topics that you want. You don't have to just listen to me talk here. I just have these up so we can have a guided, I kind of know where to go, but happy to get off topic and do any Q&A that you have. As far as food production and preservation, which is a major thing that we're doing right now, I think it's very important for the world that we're headed into, that everyone is growing your own food. If you haven't started, you're behind, get on it. Our garden is growing. Some videos coming up where you'll actually see that, but plants are popping up out of the ground. In fact, last night we had a salad. Everything, almost everything in the salad was out of our garden, so that's really great seeing that's happening. And it's the neighbor's garden is growing as well. Like I said, we got the first set of potatoes popping up over there, so that is cool. We've converted our flower bed. You'll see that video coming up. One of our large flower beds is now converted to food production. So we got a lot of that going. All the trees are in, and they are growing. And the one that Darla broke and I had to duct tape back together, it looks like it's surviving. It's not thriving, but it looks like it's not dead yet. So it's getting lots of water, and I'm hoping that it'll come. Darla got out, of course. She's out this morning again. It's whatever. You can't. whatever, man. I mean, just it's Darla. Uh, anyway, she leaned up against it because she's got plenty of posts and everything else to lean up against, but she had to lean up against a brand new tree, and she snapped it off down at the root graft. So I cleaned it all off and watered it really strong, and I I actually used duct tape and I duct taped it on there, uh, and with the hope that it was just a fresh break, so we'll be able to get it, it'll juice itself up and heal itself, it'll essentially regraft. We'll see though. We had a big problem with wind in the garden, and we haven't solved the problem this year, but we're starting to put in a natural windbreak that will help us next year and all subsequent years. It's really everything we're doing right now is like creating a bank account. We're creating a bank account and we're filling it. So that we can withdraw from it in the future, but we're not going to see a lot of the stuff that we're doing this year. We're not going to see the results of for maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But to help with the wind, we actually put some black currants, which are like raisins, around the garden, around the east side. And we have some other plants that we're going to be doing around the north and west side, which will help us uh, with the wind. So it's great seeing those. You'll see those videos come up. In fact, I was just editing that video today. Let's see here. I'm checking on the chats here. Oh, hey, we got a super chat from Shop Pulse, Canton, Connecticut. Hello there. I knew you are trying some different things out with the music, but spending a little more time with the volume that is often too loud. Okay. You have a lot of good content, and when the people find you, there will be lots of subs. Hey, thanks for that, Shop Pulse. I want you to know I take that very, very seriously, and I have been doing it. You see the headphones I have on here? So here's the interesting thing. Uh, I love music. My mom's here right now today. So, Mom, I love you, and you're the one who gave me the I love music thing. And if you all don't love music, you're just, yeah, man, I can't help you there. But music is so inspirational and it changes the mood of things. And what I wanted to do with the videos shop is I wanted to be able to create a much more positive energy. Now, I would love to say that I'm always positive, but I think you all know that I can get really down on myself, and that comes through in the content. And I don't want that. So I'm trying to change up here. You can't change up here unless you change in here, and that's where the rings came in. So we get this right in the middle, then this thing starts to change, and then that positivity starts to come out. So praise Jesus, I'm working on that. But I'm using music to try to create even more positivity because I want these videos to be hopeful, exciting, fun. Um, and when I bring the music in, and back to the headphones, I use these are Sony headphones. They're really high quality headphones, and um, I have the ability to change the volume on that music. And when I edit, it's done on a percentage basis. So the voice is at 100%. The music in some cases down at 2 to 5%. I can almost barely hear it in these headphones when I'm editing. But the interesting thing is that everyone's getting a different experience with that music, and it's really a challenge. So I really appreciate your comment. I'm happy to take that feedback. I will continue to work on it. I just learned about audio ducting today and how to do that. So I can automatically have the editing software turn down the music even more when people are talking. So I will continue to work on that. I really want to have music in there because I do love music, but I don't want it to be a distraction. It should be an amplification of the message, not a distraction. And your feedback is telling me it's more distracting. So I really do appreciate that, Shop. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you so much for the feedback. Okay, so I'm looking at comments here. Blackjack, solution for your next big garden area. Start at the back of the fenced off area, rototilling, cover chips, then move. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That would have been a good way to do it. Yeah, do one section at a time, move the chips up there, do a rototilling, push the chips over, come back, rototill, push chips over. That's a good point. Uh-oh, the hot Arizona temps fried my lettuce plants. How does life on Mars keep this from happening? Does the grow tower plant? So outdoor in Arizona with lettuce, your sun and everything are going to be really tough. The I don't even know how you would stop it from bolting. You're going to have shade cover on that. And your roots, if you can get your roots down to 70 degrees, really no higher than 75 degrees Fahrenheit for your lettuce that's outside. If you can keep those roots cool, then the top of the lettuce will do well. But if your roots get hot, it's done. So there's a chance that your pot, your bucket, I think, could have got too hot in the roots. So you gotta find a way to cool that. You could potentially even move your lettuce right inside your slider and just have it get the light that way. Of course, watch out for water getting on the floor and all that, but that would be tough. Shop, I'm referring to when you are talking in the video with music. Yeah, yep, Roger that. So the audio ducting, I'll work on. I'll work on that. Noted, very much noted. And again, thank you so much for the super chat. That will go to good use here, and I will focus on that. Okay, I'm all caught up on the chats. Everybody coming on, be sure to say where you're from if you haven't already. Let's see here and put comments in for Q&A. Okay, root cellar. So root cellar design, I have a subscriber who reached out to me and said, you know what, Jeff, you've been complaining a lot about your dirt lately and how it turns so hard in the summertime. Stop Stop looking at it as a negative and look at it as a positive. You have dirt that turns into cement. How can we use that? And the subscriber and I spent some time talking, and we came up with a rammed earth technique. If you've ever, well, basically just look at any of the native indigenous people, early pioneers, cob homes, adobe homes, dirt built homes. Rammed earth is a technique to create these types of homes, and it's a potential way that we could save a tremendous amount of money and build one heck of an awesome root cellar, all just using the dirt that we have here at the ranch when we excavate for the root cellar. So we currently have some experiments going on, which will show up in videos that you'll see to identify exactly what type of content we have in our dirt, how we would need to amend it for this rammed earth technique, and make everything happen super awesome and build the world's most awesomest root cellar ever on the planet. At least that's what I want to tell myself. It's going to be a lot of hard work, though. I know that rammed earth is a lot of hard work, but it potentially saves tremendous amount of money and can be something that lasts hundreds of years. Not that I'll be here for it, but it's a really solid technique. So I'm excited for that root cellar. That's probably one of our largest projects that we need to do this year. I got some product reviews coming up for you guys. The simple pump, we bought one, and that goes on top of our pump head, our well head, and allows us to have manual water in case of an extended power outage where we run out of gasoline or something for the generators. And it allows us to pressurize our water tank so we get to use all the existing infrastructure and have a manual pump out there. So I'm really excited about that. It's one of the rings, if you recall, has water in it, and it's, in fact, let me bring that back up here. Yeah, so right in the middle here, water, right outside security is water, and that's probably the last thing that I have to take care of in that ring. And then moving out, shelter, we have our firewood ordered this year. We're procuring firewood. We don't have time for cutting and harvesting and doing all this year. And the guy that we buy from is he's a logger, and his side business is cutting firewood, and he actually uses that to pay for his daughter to go to college. So happy to support community there. It's another community tab, supporting each other. From a food standpoint, we got the root cellar to do, and of course, make sure all the stuff that we put in the ground grows. I wouldn't mind putting some more fruit trees and some more herbs and more food around the house because I don't think we have enough yet. So we're moving out in the rings here. Get back this. Okay, so that's that update. And so simple pump. I also have. So I was out in the shop, and I spend a majority of my time out there, or a large part of my time out there. I've been spending a majority of my time over at the neighbor's house, but I do business out there, and my cell phone only worked in one spot right next to the door because it's a big giant metal shop, and we have no service really out there. So I reached out to a cell phone repeater company, and they were really nice enough, High Boost, to send me a product, and I got it installed, and blown away. It works so much better than the one we have up here at the house. I wish I could get another one. So I am super excited to share that with people because it was a clear need. define need and put it in and solved major problems. In fact, that shop is getting so nice out there. If I put some TVs up, I don't think I really have to come inside except for to use the bathroom, which might be a bad thing. Let's not tell Mrs. Martian about that. Okay. Uh, and then I have some, so I have these old floodlights on the shop I've been wanting to replace with LEDs. You know, everyone's telling me to replace with LEDs. So we got some motion detection lights that we're going to be putting out there, replacing the old halogen floodlights with LED lights. So those will be some product reviews coming up. So stay tuned for that. Hello from Clackamas County, Oregon. John, good to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate everyone who's on here today. Let's see here. I'm going to hit refresh on this one little thing here. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect me and make everything horribly bad. Sometimes with the connection we have, things get locked up. It looks like, no, it looks like we're doing good here. Okay, so I'm all caught up on the community tab here. We got everything going. Let's talk about COVID. Hey, that's fun and exciting. Um, not really. You know, it's amazing how much information. So let me step back. When I was in the Air Force, one of the last duty assignments I had, in fact, it was the last duty assignment I had, is I spent 8 months in Baghdad. And what I did in Baghdad is totally classified. No, just kidding. I worked in the information operations cell at one of the major control centers. Worked for an awesome group of people. I got to work for a general as his executive officer, and before that, I got to work in the cell, information operations cell, info ops, IO. And I encourage everybody to go look the Army Guide to Information Operations. Just do a Google search on it and read it. There's like a summary version of it where you could just see the basic tenets of information ops. Of course, one of the tenets is psychological operations. That's just one tenet. Computer hacking, computer messaging, media, counter media. Those are all things that I've been trained in. And a few years ago, I noticed when I was watching TV, it was a nice little puff piece on a Vietnamese twins that were separated at birth. A very nice story. And then they ended up working at the exact same hospital and discovered that they were sisters, you know. And I was watching that. I was thinking it was like ABC. I was watching that, you know, major network here. And then I just changed channel, and it was like Fox, you know, totally different network. And they had the exact same story, which is like, okay, so if somebody found this, it's popular. It's like YouTube, you know, you got to compete with each other. But what caught my attention, I'm connecting dots here, that information operations story I just told you that I was taught how to do stuff. And then this story, listen to this part. The words that were used by both channels were exactly the same. Now, this is a few years ago. That's not possible unless someone is paying, and we all know that's the case. So a few years ago, I decided to stop listening to all media. I don't trust any media source at all. Anything on the internet, from my opinion, based on my training, has a 50-50 chance of being true. Uh, so I don't make decisions based on what I read on the internet. It's just not something that's going to happen. Uh, I don't trust anything. I don't trust any media source at all because I've seen the techniques that I was trained how to use being used on us. And so this whole COVID thing is very interesting. The point of me saying all that is to say this: you can't trust anything. You have to make your own damn decisions. I mean, that's the bottom line. And coming back to my circle of trust, if you will, the rings of hope. There's a reason that I put Jesus in the middle of this, is because he's the only way that I could hear the truth. If I didn't have that in my life, I'd be all over the place. I don't know how anyone out there right now could say that they know exactly what's going on, because there's so much information, counter information. All right, there's a soapbox. I encourage everybody to go do a search for Army information operations tenets, anything like that. It'll be a document, Army guide, something. It'll have a number. Go read it. Just read it so you understand what is being done to you. And that's my COVID soapbox. Okay, let's move on. What are the impacts of COVID? Well, I got those parts for the grow towers, which showed up and had about 60% errors on them. The company is doing the right thing. They're fixing it. They're sending us the 60% stuff that was wrong. But we are now back in waiting mode. You'll see that video coming up. It was a dark day here on the Martian homestead. but that is putting us further behind. From an investor standpoint, we've got the crowdfunding and everything. We've submitted a package for crowdfunding. I'll let you know more as the campaign rolls out, but that is starting to move forward. We've also applied for one of the emergency small business loans, and that process is slow, but we're moving on that. And of course, I continue to work for the neighbor. The vineyard's coming along; it's about 1/4% complete, and it's about half planted now. Actually, just a little under halfway planted. We're waiting for some more vines to show up, and I still have trellising and irrigation to do. It's looking really nice, though. He's very happy with it. The orchard, actually, I'm going to be going out there today. It's the first day that I could actually go work on it in the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to get out there and start moving on that. Lots of trees, like 20 boxes of trees that I need to go get in the ground, about 100 some odd trees. Very exciting. The garden is pretty much done. We just need to get the irrigation going, and I have lots of irrigation wires and stuff to run, the control wires. Same with the greenhouse. The gar They're both doing great. Greenhouse, you'll see that in videos coming up, man. Stuff's growing. We got some beehives, haven't started that yet. Really need to get going on those. And fencing project is about 25% complete. So those are the projects we're doing for the neighbors that we've agreed to help them out with, and they're helping us out with. So that's how we're kind of moving through this whole COVID thing. Those are the impacts. All right. Uh, Central Pennsylvania. Hello, Eco Island. And James Perry. Hi from, oh my goodness, how do I say Mattapoisett? Did I get that right, James? Massachusetts, near Cape Cod. Thanks for coming online and joining us today. Uh, Looks like we got about 14 people here right now. So if you haven't said hello already, be sure to drop a comment and say hello. Where are you from? Love to know where everybody's from. Join the community here. We got super chats turned on. Really appreciate those. And please, please, please do not be afraid to submit Q&A or questions that I can answer. You give the Q, I give the A. I really want these things to be an engagement of community, so please drop all your comments. Okay, build status. Nothing changed on LifePod 2. Grow towers, some parts arrived, but they had big errors, so those are getting fixed. Major thanks to the company who is fixing that and for everything you're doing. I do really appreciate it. It's unfortunate the situation occurred. We spoke on the phone. Everything's working out. So that's just life, man. If you want to be an entrepreneur, these are the types of things you got to deal with. Things don't go to plan. The grow walls. Super duper excited on the grow walls. Join us on Patreon. I'm going to talk about Patreon coming up, so I don't want to steal my own thunder, but join us on Patreon. Please join us on Patreon because I've decided to start sharing designs and 3D printer files on Patreon. You can check that out. But we are going to be sharing these new updated grow walls, and I am super excited about it. Even Mrs. Martian is excited. Hey, listen, when I get her excited about a design, something, it's good. It's a good thing. So I am really excited about these new grow walls. I've received a lot of comments that there's tons of grow walls out there. Uh, there's not. I think people are thinking like, things that grow vertically, and there are a lot of those things out there, but things that actually mount to a wall. I think I found about 4 competitors, and only one of them has something that's like what we're going to be doing. So there's not a lot of these solutions out there. And what we're doing, you could actually put like on your counter backsplash. So, Mom, you were talking about your lettuce being burned. These new grow walls that we do, you could actually be growing your lettuce right inside on your counter. They're very clean. You can put them in the dishwasher when you're done growing, not with the lettuce in it. Someone's going to say that. You can put it in the dishwasher with lettuce? No, you can't do that. But you can clean them afterwards. They're going to be dishwasher safe, food safe. I'm so excited about it. You're going to be able to grow a bunch of different stuff. And they're going to be very modular, very like Lego-ish to put it together. Probably the biggest challenge with the grow walls is making sure they look aesthetically pleasing to a larger market because, as an engineer, I care about functionality. I do care about how it looks. So, you don't want to design something that looks like a beluga whale, wink, Boeing. But you got to know what that is all about. Someone will probably recognize that reference here. It's one of the largest acquisitions that was done in the DoD. So that's your hint. Beluga whale, as we would design that anyway. So you want your stuff to look good, and if you join us on Patreon, you'll be able to see all these designs now. I've decided to share them there. uh, and I'll talk about that coming up. And the software app is on hold, so we don't have anything happening there. Okay, let's see here. You should be. I'm just checking up on the comments here. So James, you should be proud of the job you are doing editing lately. Well done. Hey, thanks, James. We had our a good friend helping us edit, and he's started some training and has no longer been editing. So I have been doing all the editing these latest last 2 weeks essentially of videos that you've been seeing. So I appreciate that feedback. I got the feedback earlier on the super chat from Shop that the music is overpowering the voice, so I will continue to work on that. The drone crash one did absolutely. I was sitting there like, man, that's the first time I've touched this thing in forever, and whoa, look at that! It's coming right at me. All right. Okay, Nick, I just started beekeeping. Really interesting to watch the bees. I'm not totally excited about bees. But it's interesting when we see the honeybees around, the attitude mentally just shifts. When you see a yellow jacket, you're like, get away from me. I don't even know your purpose in the world. Let me kill you. And then the honeybee shows up and you're like, oh, honeybee. It's so good for the environment. Without it, the honeybees were in, deep trouble without the pollinators. It's nice seeing that. Can you post a link to the intelligence article on your website? I can look for it. Yep. Hey, yo, saw you streaming and wanted to say hi. Still bugging Ron to get with you as a random add-on. Well, okay. Is the Potion coming back online? Eco Island, it will be. I wanted to say that I think in one of my videos I spoke about it, but or maybe it was an email. I can't remember. Lots of people ask me about the digester. It's fully there. We didn't take it apart. You'd have to blow it up with dynamite, which would be fun. But no, we didn't do that. Right now it has the deck and the tent and stuff on top of it, but that deck is meant to be removed so we can get to the digester. Here's the problem with digester is it's all about loading, right? That's still the problem. I think with this new 3D printer and the loading problem, there might be some dots, excuse me, that we can connect there and solve the loading problem. Uh, Honestly, the way that I would like to load it is with a pump, a grinder pump. That's how I'd like to load it. Uh, I'm not really sure that's going to work because of the hay issue. It's all about straw and buoyancy. And a lot of the grinder pumps that are out there, trash pumps and all that, they just can't handle that hay. It's clogged around the inlet. So we got to solve that problem, Eco Island. If time permits this year, I certainly want to get to it. Absolutely, absolutely. So great question. Okay, be sure you guys are dropping. You did a good run there on me. Let's get some more in. Get your comments in. Let's do a Q&A here. These are for you guys, so nice engagement of community. Let's see here. LifePod 2, still more detailed CAD work to do, but all the major work is done. No real change there. And the grow walls, I call them version 3. The designs are updated, and everything is good. I'm checking something. Get that up. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll pull these up here. Da, 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 da. All right, so I'm pulling that up to help out. All right, let's talk about Patreon for a moment here. Here you go. Before we do that, so here, I had to read this document. I had to go to school on this document for weeks. This is the Joint Publication on Information Operations. So this is if you think of it, this would be like what they talk about in the Pentagon, right? You'll see all the services on here. So this is the overarching guidance that's discussed about information operations, what it is, how things are set up, how you plan it, how you conduct it. Now, let me be very clear. It is illegal for any United States Department of Defense organization to conduct information operations on the United States. I am not making a statement that the DoD or any of my brethren in the armed forces are doing something wrong. What I'm saying is that somebody out there who's not in the DoD and maybe not even in our government is conducting an IO on all of us. So go read this so that you understand what IO is. Uh, and then also read, here's another one here. This is Department of Army, how to conduct information operations. So go check this out. I think I can do this. Let me see here. There you go. Here come the links right now. So y'all can just grab those links and go read until your heart is content. But you will quickly start to understand what I'm talking about. I have no doubt. Okay, so on Patreon, uh, here's what we got. So a few weeks ago, we decided that everybody on Patreon, that's $1 and up, is going to be getting these behind the scene videos that Mrs. Martian and I are doing. We're trying to publish those every 2 weeks, or I'm sorry, every Tuesday, and they'll be on Patreon. And we're contemplating letting them, after the patrons get a chance to chew them up, and ask all their specific questions. Now, Patreon is also a lot more intimate than YouTube, meaning that I can see those comments a lot easier. It's much more convenient to go in and have conversation on Patreon than it is on YouTube, because YouTube there's just so much, right? I get comments on not just the most current video, but all the videos all the time, and that's a lot of comments to go through. And honestly, sometimes it's just overwhelming. You can't keep up with it. And as the channel grows, there's going to be more and more of that, which is what we want. But to have that intimate conversation with y'all requires us to narrow down that group, and Patreon is a way to do that. Honestly, $1 a month is not that big a deal. I mean, most people lose that in their car seats if they use cash still. Most people aren't. That's another topic. Okay, not the point though. Stay on here. Uh, so anyone who puts in $1 a month gets access to these behind the scenes videos that we're doing. We have two of them up right now. Another one will be coming up this week. And basically what we're doing is we're going over the older content. It's like creating, if you buy a DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, you know how they have the director comments, as the video goes on, you have all that. We're doing all that. And it's all about creating community there and sharing our experience. So if you're brand new to doing farming or ranching or 3D printing or any of these Arduino things, you're going to get the behind the scenes, not just my perspective of it, but also Mrs. Martian. So, 98% of our viewers are male. We really want to bring more females into it because that will create a better and stronger community. So Mrs. Martian is going to be in a lot more videos. We're even considering doing some of her recipes and cooking that she does on her blossomingtable.com blog. So we're going to bring some of those over. Uh, and Patreon is a way that we can share that behind the scenes and have more intimate conversations with folks. So if you haven't joined us on Patreon, or if you have joined us, share with people, bring them over and start creating community. Engage on Patreon, install the app on your phone or on your tablet, and you get a lot more intimate conversations with us. So that's $1 a month. Yesterday, we decided to go live with two new Patreon tiers. The $5 tier and up is going to have early access to designs, and I started posting designs there. It's been a request for a lot of folks on YouTube is to see the designs before they start seeing the builds. But here's the rub, here's the challenge, is if I just throw all the designs out there, I started the clock on public notice. I put something out in the public that's not restricted, and that starts a clock on patents and intellectual information. And again, remember, even though it sucks, I get it, it sucks. I know you hate it. I hate it too. It's just the way the world works. When you look at getting venture capital, when you look at getting investors, they don't like the idea of you giving your stuff away for free, because they are sitting there going, how am I going to make money on this? You gave it away for free. Now think about it. That makes sense, right? So we have to restrict access so that we're not giving it away for free. And actually, if you do contribute on Patreon, what it allows me to do is write down and tell the investors, we're getting people who see the value in what we're doing to the point where they're willing to put some money in and join in and help develop and critique and early adopt, and we've got they're active, and here's how much they're putting in. And that's a big deal. That is a totally different story to an investor than, hey, I gave this thing away for free and we came up with a cool design, but now everybody has it, so whoop-de-doo. You see, there's a difference there. And so at $5 a month, I think that kind of gets the people who are really serious about wanting to help us. I think that's the lowest that I could go, and where people will be coming in saying, "Hey, I want to help." Um, if it was like 10-cent comments, I I don't know if you've ever done a design review in your life, or if you've ever had a meeting, or if you've have ever had a situation where you've had to get up in front of a whole bunch of people and go over something that you built and have them rip you apart. You really want those people in the audience to be serious, and you don't want the trolls showing up because it's hard to take that many comments and cycle through them all and make all the updates. It could result in you being totally destroyed. It could result in analysis paralysis, and so I think at $5 per month, those are the people who are really, they're serious. Um, they really want to contribute at that point. There's a little bit of pain there. That's a price of a coffee type of pain, and that's a budget thing. So $5 a month gets you access. The grow towers, two of them are up there. There's two more to be posted. You can see them. Cool animations. Uh, and then the grow wall updates, you're going to be seeing those go on there as well before anybody else sees it. So that gives you an opportunity to comment, critique, all those types of things in a very constructive way. I think the people at the $5 thing, like I said, I think you'll in that community you'll be able to contribute very, very well to each other. And our newest and last benefit that we're putting up there is that we're actually going to be posting the 3D printer files. So everything that we 3D print, you will be able to 3D print if you do $20 a month. So basically, you're buying the design and you can print it yourself, critique it, do what you like there, uh, and contribute to the design community. So someone asked me, "Hey, are you going to make these files so they don't require the world's largest printer?" And you'll be able to scale the designs to your printer so you can do different things with them. And the new grow walls will print on smaller printers. So very excited about all of that. Okay, so that is Patreon. Let me check out the chats here. Uh, how about a flotation tank to separate the plant mass? Uh, I think you're talking about like a striation, like let things, based on their buoyancy, separate and then, move stuff out that way. We did that if that is what you mean. If it's not, correct me by adding another comment. But um, we did that in our horse toilet video where we actually took an IBC tote, cut the top off, filled it with digestate from the digester, pre-inoculated, and then add the manure in there. And it waterlogs the manure, which is good. And then we set a trash pump in there, a septic pump, and then uh, we did it two different ways, upside down and right side up. And every single time we used that, and we even had a self mix feature where it mixed itself. The straw just got in there and really ruined it. And we want that straw in there. It's important to have that straw go in there. You could separate it out and throw it in a compost pile, but you really do want that. Um, you want as much organic material and diversity going into that digester as you can get, because that increases your methane yield, which is one of the major benefits of it. So there's that. Are you putting a mixer in the digester? Because I think that could solve the problem with the floating hay straw. Well, that's why I like the pump idea, Sven, is because when we have the pump, like what we did in the horse toilet, that shoots everything through a 2-inch pipe. It goes down the digester, and then I angled it at the bottom so it actually spins everything inside of the digester. It essentially burps the digester, which is a well-known thing with this particular digester. If you can burp it like a baby, it's a really good thing. Um, and what it does, that doesn't help with the straw before, it helps with the straw and stuff after. So once it gets in the digester, those things float up to the top and it creates a crust. And that's where stirring your digester helps out. So that's why I really like the pump idea. If we use a reverse auger, which would be like a motorboat impeller, um, we don't really get that action to auger everything down into it. But if we can use the pump, then we can stir it. And that helps with the inside, but you still have the problem of loading it at the very beginning. Okay, let's see here. What's next? Have to get some errands. Good work and good luck. Thank you, Swordfish. Marky Sleep. Morning, Jeff. Checking in from Marysville, Washington. Thank you for coming on, Mark. Just hanging out and here for moral support. Well, we appreciate it, Mark. Ask any questions you like. Uh, let's see here. Eco Island sounds like a grinding drum might do the thing to masticate it down to small pieces. Uh, yeah, I've looked at like a grinder, like a was it drum hammer, a hammer grinder, hammer mill. Might do it. People are like put it through a chipper. Uh, Here's the problem with all those things. The energy equation, you can solve the problem, but the energy equation is unbalanced. And what that means is if you do all that, you end up spending more energy, and I'm talking like electricity, uh, to create the right conditions than the electricity that you can get back out via methane. So it really comes down to your value proposition. If you're using the digester to recycle organic material and get methane, then you need a positive energy equation. You need to get, or at least a balanced energy equation to where you get electricity out for what you put in. If your value of the digester is to create great organic material, better, and to speed up your composting, then it's okay to invest more electricity uh, in than what you get out because your value proposition is different. Our value proposition has always been about the methane, not necessarily the compost, the digestate, and the solids that come out of the digester. So I think we need to reevaluate, our value, our usage of the digester to address these particular issues, and go from there. But the digester I think is absolutely critical. It's part of the LifePod 2 design. The LifePod 2 has a solved problem, or all the problems with the digester are solved. It's a different use case. You're not loading LifePod 2's digester full of uh, one stall's worth of manure at a time, which is what we are trying to do with ours. LifePod 2 is a much lower input rate, so it's easier to deal with. There's a grinder on it, essentially a garbage disposal that will solve the problem there. And the way it's set up is different as well. So LifePod 2 and Hab 2 have all this solved, but again, it's a different value proposition there. Okay. Yep. Okay. Let's go to the next slide here. I think we're almost done with this. Yeah, I think this is my last slide. So we're coming about 12 minutes up on the hour. So let's talk about where we're headed overall here. You guys need to see this. So let me move this little thing around here. This is a cool program being able to do this. All right. We're going to continue working with the neighbor. That's pretty much the major thing that's allowing us to pay the bills right now. On Patreon, we need your help. We need everybody's help. We just, we continue to improve our Patreon offerings, and I think we're going to continue to see more and more there. I think the idea that we're putting these 3D printer files up there, and there's more than just the grow walls that we're going to be 3D printing. Working with some subscribers, they got some ideas. I think we're going to be using Patreon to help out with that and to help grow some products. So if you're interested in using your knowledge, if you feel like you have something to comment, if you're one of those people who always has a thought, join us on the community. That's where you can put your skills and your experience to use in looking at these designs and telling us why they suck. That's always fun. And also telling us why you like them. Also fun. And maybe how you would change them if it were you. That's where you could take your experience. Hey, you're stuck at home right now, or at least you might be stuck at home. Why not take your time and put it into something where you can actually help people and create this community? So join us on Patreon. Last time we were together, we had $153 per month. We're now up to $212 per month coming in from Patreon. So thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you for making that possible. I hope the patrons, I want to know if the patrons, so far the comments I've received is that they really like the new stuff, but if you're a patron, let me know. Put it in the comments right now. Comments for me are over here, comments for you are right here. Get those fingers going, get that arthritis worked out, and let's, tell me if you like what we're doing on Patreon. I do want that feedback. And our goal there is $3,500. Now, here's last time I spoke about this, but what if you're putting in, you're not giving us a handout, folks. I need you to understand that what you're doing is you're allowing us to cover our basic operational costs so that we can create content, right? And that creating content and doing projects costs money. Remember, I spend 7 hours a day, 5 hours a day working on YouTube. That is a lot of effort that we put into this content, the editing, the audio. I just paid for an audio subscription so we can have better music, right? These things all cost money. The mic that we needed to buy for Mrs. Martian so people can enjoy that content better, we bought that. That cost money. So Patreon is a way that allows us to take these bills that we have, get them covered, so that we can, get additional funding from like YouTube and other places and pay for the projects and the equipment and all that stuff so that we can create content. Now, what is this content? What are you paying for there? You're paying for inspirational content. Like we really are trying hard to fight our battles, honestly, with Satan, who's just attacking us left and right. Ever since I put the rings out, we have been under constant attack, folks. Like, you may not believe that, but I'm telling you, it's real. The enemy is real. He is there. And every time I talk about Christ as my center, we get attacked. After this, I have no doubt that we will be attacked again. His techniques are predictable, just as much as his tenacity is there. So we want to share that with people as we fight the good fight. We want to share that and be inspirational. We want to be hopeful. We want to show people that during these really difficult times, you can have hope. I think that's important. You would be contributing to allow us to share that message. It is funny. How many times have you watched The Real Martian and laughed? Come on, you might be laughing because I'm stupid. You think I'm stupid or I've done something stupid, but it got you to laugh. Laughing releases hormones that make you feel good, man. And we want people to feel good these days. There's so much negative content out there. Our journey is hard, but you're gonna see us go through it, and you can get a good laugh at the same time. I think it will be triumphant. I think we're gonna win. I do. I believe that. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we risk. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was gonna work. I'm not crazy. Well, I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm not stupid. That's for sure. And it's community, it's family friendly content. There's not a lot of that. Well, if you look at YouTube right now, do this. Go to YouTube and go to trending, right? In fact, we can do it right now. Check this out. Look at this. This is really depressing. I want to do this for you guys. Trending. Lady Gaga. TikTok dances. TikTok. I don't even know what this is. Look at it, 805,000 views for question marks. Uh, Official video. Look at all this. Birthday prep. Look at that. That girl. Oh my goodness. What is that girl doing? 75. Look, that looks like way too young for anyone to be on there. Lady Gaga. Look at this. This is what's trending on YouTube. This isn't family friendly content. This is trash. This is all absolute trash, right? This is garbage. This is what people are doing. Here's how trending works. People sit there, they watch YouTube, they click thumbs up, they add comments, and it hits this thing. And well, of course, YouTube presents a lot of this garbage too. But look at this garbage. Can you break this ball? $1,000 if you can break this ball. Look at this. Yeah, that looks like family friendly there. Uh-huh. Yep, great. All right, I think I made my point. There's not a lot of family friendly content that's being promoted on YouTube. It's just not that popular. And I've received comments. I lost my dad, so when someone gives me a comment like this, it's a good one. Real Martian, thank you so much for creating your content. You've given us projects that my son and I are working on together. We watch your videos and we're working on these things together. That is what the community is about. That's what our Patreon supporters allow us to do. And if you are supporting us on Patreon, you can feel just as good about that as I do, because without that support, we could not be making this all happen. So Patreon is a big deal. And that is something I really want to let you all know. It's not a handout. We are taking that very seriously, and we are going to create. We're on this journey there in the bottom left. That's what we're trying to do. The theme is sustainable food and energy, but if you look at the channel, there's it's going to cover a wide variety of topics: farming, ranching, 3D printing. Oh my goodness, welding, automation, Arduinos, coding, product development, a whole bunch of stuff. Aquaponics, how to grow food, indoor growing. and oh yeah, it's going to be entertaining, and it creates community where we all get together on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard, and we can talk, and you can criticize us, and you can join us on Patreon. Anyway, all right, let's do some stuff here on the straw and carbon source for the methane. Yep, straw is the carbon source. Yep. You had mentioned a higher end grinder would do the job, but it's a capital expenditure front. Yeah, a better grinder probably could do a job. Eco there. Roger, same can be said for your fiscal. Yep. Could you soak a few tractor bucket loads in sealed stainless tank first to soften it? Well, that's kind of the horse toilet. You know, we loaded it up, let it get all waterlogged. But that straw, see, straw has the lignin in it, which creates that more woody, type of thing. And that lignin is hard to break down. It's very hard to break down. That's why you need something mechanical to rip it apart. Uh, so what will you do with the solids from the digester if well, so uh, to be very specific there, Brian, to come back is it's not just about the methane. The methane is just the primary value source because we wanted the energy. But we've always had a plan to use the solids and the liquids. I did a video a long time ago creating your own organic compost and then spraying it on the yard. We bought a sprayer for the back of the tractor, brand new one, because the other one we had poison in it, so you don't want to mix those. And I backed up to the digester, turned on the digestate pump, loaded up the sprayer, and did a ratio of 1 to 10, 1 part digestate to 10 parts water. That's the recommendation because it's so potent. And I sprayed it in the yard, and it did good. I only did it once. I needed to do it more, and I'd like to do that in our garden, at the neighbor's garden, on our yard, everywhere. That's the liquid. The solids now, as the solids pile up, it's supposed to be like a septic tank, right? So if you're doing a good job mixing it and you keep everything just right as far as temperature and all those things go, then it'll take like 20 years before you really need to get those solids out. And when you do need to get the solids out, you're going to pump it. You're going to have to pump it out. So you get like a septic truck, or you get a septic pump and you drop it down there and you suck all those things out. You need a big hose and do all that. And what you can do with that is 100% like pure organic black gold. Spread it on the field, put it in your garden. You could use it as bedding even if you really wanted to. You can use it for bedding. Uh, but you want to put it back into the fields, back into your food operation. You don't want to get rid of it. That's for sure. That stuff is amazingly good. And so uh, getting that out of this particular digester requires a pump, like a septic pump truck would be the best way to do it. So yeah, we don't want to get rid of that stuff. No, for sure. Good question. Can you explain your relationship with your neighbor? I think it's a neighbor, and he's we're trading essentially effort for money, and that's pretty much it. He's a great guy. Just getting to know him, the new neighbor, and of course Wrangler Star is our other neighbor, and they're just freaking awesome. We've known them for a long time now. I think 9 years, going on 9 years. Um, with Cody, I people ask me all the time, how come I don't do more stuff with Cody? And the answer is very simple, is because I respect him too much to go take advantage of him like that. And that's how I would be looking at it. If I was always over at his place saying, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you do a video? Can you do all this?" That's taking advantage of his efforts that he's done, and that's not the relationship we have. He's a good friend, and you don't take advantage of good friends. He helps us out from time to time. It's always appreciated. We love them. We sit down and we have drinks with them and do all those things when we're allowed to. Uh, and Yeah, so good relationships. Just getting to know the other neighbor, but so far seems like really good folks. We're with you, brother. Keep going. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. We're coming up here on the end. So if you haven't said where you're from, now's a good time to say it. I think, yeah, this is it for my topics. Oh wait, no, sorry, I had a few more. Uh, subscribers are going up. You can see we're up a few there, almost 100 from last time we all got together. If we can get 50,000 subscribers, that pays for about half the mortgage. And when you start adding these things all up, right? Our goal is to share this content to help inspire people, to give people hope, to give them a good laugh. So all these things are how we can do that full time. And I'm sharing it with you guys in hopes that you can go forth and help us accomplish these things if you like what you're seeing. And if you don't like what you're seeing, I'd love to be given that constructive feedback, like the audio, for the super chat that was given earlier. If anyone wants to throw in a super chat, now's the time to do it. Not ashamed to ask for the close. Gotta ask for the close. Okay, so subscribers are going up, but it's slowed down quite a bit. And I do have some ideas for future collabs, especially when it comes to like clearing and some of the chainsaw work that needs to be done. So hopefully we'll be able to make those materialize. The grow towers are our priority to get those built. With some of the metal that was sent that was wrong, I will be able to start doing some practicing with stainless steel welding, so I need to get to that. But the grow walls honestly are going to be operational first because of this new redesign that I'm so excited about. And I really need to get my freshwater prawns ordered. And I need to do that next week and get those here. We'll put them in an aquarium for right now. And then once we can build the towers, we'll start moving them into the towers to create our aquaculture water source for aquaponics. And the ranch, I always have fence repair. That damn cow is out again. Um, I don't know where the problem's at. I got a new fence. I got a digital fence tester, electric fence tester coming because the one I have is garbage. And I'm going to go out and test that fence in a whole bunch of places because something's wrong. Uh, and I don't know why. She shouldn't be getting out, but she is. We got to clear out the south line. We cleared it first year we were here, but it's all grown up again, so that needs to be done. And we're going to use all that stuff for chipping, so we can cover the trees and stuff that we're doing here at our place. The neighbor bought chips, but we don't have the money to do that, so we've got to make the chips. Use what we have anyway. It's better. And then we got that big old root cellar build coming up. Uh, so we got a lot. What do we got here? Denmark. Hello, John. Jens. Oh, Hanson. Yeah. Hey, man. Good to see you on. Tahoe City of California. John, thanks for being here. Ogden, Utah. You live in a beautiful place. Caleb, that's beautiful. Been through Ogden myself. Very nice there. So I see we've reached the hour mark, folks. So I really appreciate all your time, appreciate all your efforts. Please do consider Patreon, telling people about Patreon. I mean, a dollar ain't much, but it really does help us out. So uh, thank you again for following along. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And of course, I think I've talked about Patreon enough. And I'll close this out. I'll be on the chat while the live stream finishes, and then I'll sign off on the chat as well. But in the meantime, everybody, it's The Real Martian out.